Everybody, Invisiblekatana here doing my review for the new Aladdin remake. It's weird to have a full title because it feels weird to just call it Aladdin, so it's I have to say the Aladdin live action remake. Just got back from the theater. Obviously, I'm wearing my shirt. Actually bought this from the theater that I went to. It was like $15. I was like, sure. I bought it last time when I actually went to see John Wick. But I was excited for this because Aladdin is my favorite movie, so I was excited. But at the same time, it was one of those nervous excitements where it's it was like the last Terminator movie, which I just found out Terminator 6 officially is coming out in October. But it was the same thing. I was like, I love Terminator. It would be like going to see a Transformers movie. It's like, I love Transformers. When I went to see Bumblebee, I was nervous. I love Transformers. And that one was supposed to be good. I haven't seen the last four before that. But it was the same thing here. I was like, I'm super excited because Aladdin is my favorite one. It's really the only reason I went to even see it, because I'm like, I'm probably not going to see Lion King. I didn't bother with The Jungle Book or Beauty and the Beast. I'm not going to see Dumbo, which might be out actually. I don't even remember. The point is, I don't care about any of those. It was like, Aladdin's my favorite one, so I kind of have to go see it. Curious what they were going to do with the music. How was that going to play out? That was really it. That was honestly the main thing. I was like, I don't think anything matters but the music in this, because I'm like, how are they going to make it work? Fortunately, I enjoyed it. I like the movie. I will say right off the top, I don't think the songs are as good as they were in the original, but overall as a movie, I think it was still entertaining. I think it was really everything they did outside of the songs, which the songs weren't like horrible or anything like that. Some of them were more entertaining than others. I say Never Had a Friend Like Me or Friend Like Me. It's probably my favorite out of all the remake songs that they did. And like A Whole New World, honestly, it kind of sounded exactly the same. So I was totally fine with that, because I was like, I like that song. They sing well. I was like, cool. Some of the other songs, to get away from Genie, it was specifically Aladdin. They did do One Jump, so that's like technically it's the second song, but it's Aladdin's first song. That one I didn't think sounded too well. I thought the actor that played Aladdin was a lot better with the slower songs than that song, so I was glad that was like the one song, because I was like, I don't like how that sounds. But every other song he did where it was like slower, I was like, okay, I like that. Some stuff they did change, like they would change the pacing for stuff, and I was like, that doesn't sound as good. It was like his second song, the slower one. I was like, It's like, it just doesn't have the same ring to it. Like the way he was doing it, it was like too spaced out. I was like, there's too much spacing between the lyrics. So that was, a little bit. And that was like the one thing where it's like how they would change the pacing of some of the lyrics or some of the songs. That was like the one thing that got me as far as the music. Outside of that though, I think they did a great job. I thought it was really well done. I like the visuals for it. It was interesting seeing it, because a lot of stuff is like, okay, I'm used to seeing it this way, because of course the original, it'd be like, okay, well, this thing happens here, or they condense stuff so it's not as long. And the movie's also like 2 hours and 8 minutes. That would include credits, I assume. So I was shocked. I was like, going into it, I was like, man, there's a lot of stuff that seemed to happen before Genie actually shows up. I was like, I felt like once it actually happened, I was like, man, have I been watching this for like maybe 30 minutes? It felt like it was probably more than that. But then I had to think back to the original. I was like, I don't remember how fast it was in the original movie, but I felt like it was super short with that one. And that movie's probably only like an hour and a half or something. So they probably had a lot of extra stuff put in the beginning of this movie before Genie actually shows up. And that's not a bad thing. It was just like, man, when Genie finally shows up, I was like, holy crap, I feel like it's been like a decent bit of the movie. It felt like it was an official act 2, as we're in the original. It was kind of like, okay, yeah, everything's kind of just moving along at a normal pace, and then the Genie shows up, and then you keep on going. So I was like, okay, interesting to see it that way. Different things happen at different times of day. Like it's in the trailer when Aladdin gets like tossed into the water in the chair, like in the movie, or in the original movie that takes place at night, and in this movie it's in daylight. So it was interesting seeing some of those scenes done during different times of day, just to see how they would kind of change it up, which I think they did that mostly for the visual element of it, because stuff just looks way better during the day. Like they kind of went all out. I mean, obviously a lot of CG and stuff, but there's a lot of practical things to see as well. Like, they do the costumes, they have the city, the palace doesn't look nearly as sweet. Like they show the palace for the first time, I was like, that sucks compared to the one in the movie, where it just looks so cool to me. I always think of that movie palace where it's just like, it's got like the giant columns and stuff, and like the giant bulb in the middle, and then the bulbs on the side. I was like, that just looks like it's a building. It's got a curved dome. It's just a building. That's kind of how it looked to me. It had like the gold tops, but I was like, yeah, it just doesn't look as epic. So that was one thing I was just like, visually at least. But it was cool. It was definitely cool. Definitely funny. I was surprised how some of the newer stuff that they did, or how they would mix things around. Some of the scenes just had me laughing. I was like, this is actually funnier than I would have anticipated. Like I figured it was going to be funny, But they're just some. It was mostly like the new stuff that they did actually that was the most entertaining. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it had good comedy. I did, like I said, I enjoyed the music. Not as good as the original, but I don't think I ever expected them to be. It was just like, as long as they aren't horrific, I'm fine. And there were only like I said, Aladdin's like first two songs. I was like, oh, I'm not too sure about that. They do have an original song that's thrown in there. I won't say where that happens, but there is a brand new song. It's for some reason it seems slightly familiar, so I don't know if that was something I may have seen from like a deleted scene or something where they were going to use that old song and they actually did it in this movie, or if I'm just making that up in my head. But like for some reason it seemed oddly familiar. But I like the music. I thought it was good. The visuals I thought were great. Like I said, like just how they do everything as far as the cities, the characters, the costumes, stuff like that. I thought it was really well done. Will Smith as Genie, of course, that's kind of the big thing with it being Robin Williams. Of course, he doesn't top Robin Williams because it was just Robin Williams is Robin Williams. But I thought they did a good job with him. I thought Will Smith did good as the Genie, both singing and as well as just being silly, funny Genie. Like I said, same thing as far as the music. It was really more some of the minor changes that they would do. Like, they threw some of the hip hop stuff in there. It was like, for some songs that works. I think Friend Like Me, I think they did that one perfectly. And then the other songs were like, not so much. But that one I thought was perfect. And then they have, the Prince Ali song, which you can actually find online. They put that one on YouTube before the movie came out. So you can check that one out yourself and kind of judge. I think the full version is actually better than the version they put on YouTube because they do show some of the stuff that I was like, oh man, this thing is missing and that thing is missing. And they add a little bit of that in there. Still not as much as I would have hoped, but they still throw a little bit of that in there. I was like, okay, it's at least better than what I thought from the YouTube thing. I thought that was like the whole thing. And it was like, no, there's still some extra stuff in there. There's some extra lyrics, some extra little funny moments. So I was like, okay, I can appreciate that at least. But all in all, I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I feel like there's not much else I can really say about it. I'd say if you're curious, I don't think you'll be disappointed. That's like the best I feel like I can say. If you wanted to see it, I think you'll enjoy it because I wanted to see the movie and I was curious like, how is this gonna work? How's that gonna work? How's the scene gonna work? What are they gonna do with this visually? Little stuff like that. And I think they did a good job. Carpet was amazing in this. That was actually probably one of my favorite things. I felt like they did more with carpet in this movie. So this is a random thing because I always thought the Magic Carpet was actually an entertaining character in the original. But in this, I was like, okay, there's somehow even more personality from a Magic Carpet. So I was super happy about that because I was like, I always love Magic Carpet, and I felt like they did a really good job adding to this, this walking, I was about to say walking, talking carpet, but this walking, waving carpet. And I was like, oh, cool. That's just cool. They did some other interesting stuff too. Like, I felt like the characters were actually a bit more tight-knit in this movie than in the original. That was another thing I enjoyed. Like, there was some stuff that they changed up a little bit where it was more team-based. I was like, I find actually really entertaining. I thought that was really cool that they just had more with them, as a unit. So I was like, sweet. I thought that was a really good scene. Some of the stuff they do for some of the scenes that they have where the characters are more of a team. I was like, that's entertaining to watch. I like that, because we don't have that as much in the original. It's really like Aladdin's doing his thing, Genie's helping him, and then they have like the argument scene and everybody goes off because Aladdin just like pissed everybody off. It was like, okay, they don't have much of a giant separation in this movie like they did in that one where it's the generic super sulking scene where everyone's depressed and stuff. They have it, but I was like, it wasn't as dramatic, and I was like, I kind of like that. I'm okay with that. I thought it was a nice change of pace for that. But yeah, that's all I can really say before getting into spoilers. But definitely want to know what you guys thought about it. If you haven't seen the movie yet, of course, definitely let me know what you guys are thinking, what your thoughts are. But as far as this review itself, going into full-on spoiler mode. So if you have not seen the movie, go check it out, then come back for the second half. But getting right into the spoilers, I think I'd start with my favorite new scene, which was Aladdin actually meeting Princess Jasmine. That I thought was actually really, really funny, and I loved it. Like, that whole scene, I was like, that's super funny, and, he's like patting Genie on the back, he's like, don't touch me, and stuff like that. I was like, all right, that I thought was really well done. So I thought that was a hilarious scene, and he's like, we got jams and jewels, and he had like a wheel, which I'm still curious, like, it was just a wheel. But I thought that whole scene was super, super funny. So I really loved that. I like the addition of Princess Jasmine's like handmaiden. I thought that was actually a cool addition to the movie, and then that allowing for Genie to like have a relationship with her in the future. And I knew that was gonna be. I was like, okay, it's Genie and he has kids, and they of course didn't show her, but like we see her and she's got the long hair. I was like, okay, that's gonna be her, and he's telling the story in the future. So I thought that was cool. I was like, oh, that's an even better outcome, because in the original movie he just takes off and he's free, and in this was like, cool, he actually has kids and they got a nice size decent boat, little stuff like that. So I was like, that's cool. He gets to have a family, and they add, it adds to his character as well. So I thought that was really entertaining. Iago, I was very curious because I was like, man, they didn't show any of it, so I didn't know if he was gonna have scenes where he talked a bunch or if it was just gonna be kind of parrot speak. I like what they did. I don't know if I kind of wanted him to speak more, because I thought it was going to be a lot like the movie where, he talks like a parrot. And then once they were in the dungeon, I thought he was actually going to say something and it would just be, kind of normal speak. But he was kind of just parrot talk the whole movie. So I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I thought it was entertaining. And I like the way they did it, because he seemed a lot more menacing too, because he would say like little stuff. And there were some scenes where he was just dark. Like, it was like at the end when Jafar was basically about to kill everybody, and he was like, the genie should witness. I was like, that's super effing dark, but I kind of like that line. I was like, that's a dark thing for him to say, but I thought that was a good line. I was like, that was just surprisingly dark. But I like what they did with Iago. I like the crazy chase sequence and stuff where he, gets huge because Jafar uses magic on him. I actually like that sequence, and that was another one of those moments where it's like, oh, that kind of teamwork element. I would have loved to have seen Jafar turn into a snake for real. I was kind of hoping, because I was like, I don't think they're going to do it, because, I was like, the hourglass stuff and this and that, and I was like, I don't think they're going to go that crazy with it, because that would require a lot. Like, that would look bad in CG, so they would almost have to do it practical with the hourglass of sand filling up and almost killing Jasmine. I was like, I feel like that's a bit much. So I figured they weren't going to do it, so instead of that, we get the crazy chase sequence. So I thought that was entertaining. Just all in all, I thought it was really good. I like how they handled some of the visual stuff, like when Aladdin actually gets sent to the ends of the world, as they say. I thought that was really cool, because I was like, okay, the way they did it in the original movie, it's like them doing another song, and he's in one of the columns and he like launches them off like a golf ball, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And then in this one, it was like he just banished them to hell or something. Like, he's screaming and stuff as he's teleporting, and I was like, that's also a little bit darker, but it was cool. Like, visually, I liked the way it was handled, and I had kind of forgotten that was even a scene that was going to come up, because I would have been thinking about that. Like, how are they going to get him from A to B? But it was just like, boom, teleported, you're out. When Jafar gets rid of all the guards, and it was like, boom, and he just slams his staff, and they almost like drop through the floor a little bit. They kind of just, get teleported away into the dungeon. I was like, I like the visuals for that. I loved when he becomes, the sorcerer. I thought that was cool. And they like, he already went through the costume change as the Sultan. Then he goes through the second costume change where it's the red and black outfit, and like an actual snake comes up and like hardens to become the new staff, which I thought looked super sweet. I was like, man, I wonder who got to keep that, because it just looked cool. It's like the black staff with like the red veins and stuff. I was like, that was an awesome looking staff. So I loved how they handled the design and like the magic and stuff like that. I liked how they handled all the characters, really. I thought Princess Jasmine was handled well, Aladdin was well, Genie, everybody I thought they did a good job with. We get to see more of the Sultan. He's not the bumbling idiot, kind of like he was in the original, and I was definitely okay with that. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Raja almost ripped a couple people apart. That's just always entertaining to see. But other than that, there's really not too much else to talk about. Like, all the music I thought was fine. The new song, Princess Jasmine's song, I thought that was interesting. I thought it was fine. And like I said, for some reason, it reminded me of something else. I don't know what it was. It was just like in my head somewhere. I was like, that song seems so oddly familiar, and I'm not sure why. But I thought that song was fine. I wasn't sure what they were doing exactly when she was singing it the second time. I was like, well, clearly this has to kind of be in her head, but I like the visuals for it. And she's like, people are like kind of evaporating. Disney was just like, well, let's just get some dusty people in here. They're still on that adventure stuff. So, people are evaporating and stuff like that. I was like, that looks kind of cool. And then they actually go through the scene. So I like that. Other songs I thought were fine. Like I said, Aladdin's first song, or the first slow song, and God, I'm drawing a blank on the lyrics now. But it was like, would they see a poor boy, no siree. It was just the way he did it. It seemed so spaced out to me. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but I thought it was so spaced out. It was weird. Also, another random thing, this song really helped me learn the words to a lot. Like, the Friend Like Me song, that was always one of the hardest songs to figure out. Like, I've watched it because I have the movie on DVD, and they have like a sing-along thing, and I was like, oh, that's what they're saying. Okay. And like the part where Aladdin and Jasmine are running, and he sings the One Jump song, and he's like, gonna need a noun de plume. It took me forever to figure what that was. I was like, I don't know what the F is a noun de plume. Little stuff like that. So it was like you could hear it because they did it slower. So I was like, oh, that helps people know the words to the song. But at the same time, it doesn't sound as right when they don't do the songs as quickly. They also changed a couple of the words. I'm pretty sure when Aladdin sang the slow song the second time, he said, I won't be like they changed the words around because it was him singing like I have to do the right thing, like all that stuff was brand new. So I was like, oh, that's interesting, and he's still just doing it in the same tone. They changed the thing about Agrabah. The first song where it was like it's barbaric but hey it's home. They changed it to chaotic, and because that was like a big deal, I was like, oh, they changed it. Cool. That's a really good change on that one. But yeah, I like the songs. I thought they were fine. Friend Like Me, I still think is the best new version of the song that they did because, like I said, A Whole New World or whatever the actual name of the song is, because it's probably not that. I thought that sounded pretty much like the original, so I was like, okay, that just sounds good, and I'm fine with that. Everything else was just kind of like, slight alteration, not as entertaining. But Friend Like Me, I thought was definitely the best one, and I love the reference that they did where he does the song the first time, kind of just super slow, and it's no big deal. They had Magic Carpet clap after that, and I was like, that's a good reference because that's what happens at the end of that song, and like they have the applause sign, and excuse me, Carpet is like the first one to like clap and stuff like that, and I was like, that's cool. They put that reference in there, and they technically have Carpet clap a second time after they do the full song. But I was like, I like that. I thought that was a good reference to like how, and it looked exact. Like, I mean, it's 3D and animation. They like copied the exact thing, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that was meant to be that reference. Where like when he does that song, it's like like you can clap now, and then they do it again after he does the mic drop. But I like that. I like what they did with Genie. That was probably my favorite thing with Genie as well, was that specific song, because they didn't go as crazy with any of the other ones. They have like this slight moment during the Prince Ali song where he's dressed up like the other woman. I was hoping they would have him do some more of the voices, because one of my favorite things is like the 100 bad guys with swords. I was hoping that he'd do that super high pitch, but sadly he didn't. The monkey part wasn't as catchy. It's literally just he's got the monkeys. I think technically that's different too, because I think in the original it's just he's got the monkeys, let's see the monkeys, and I think in this one he said he's got the monkeys, tons of monkeys, or something like that. It's like literally like the slightest differences. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why they switched like that one line. But yeah, I think Friend Like Me was the best remix that they had, and then after that probably would be Prince Ali. Like I said, A Whole New World, I hardly even count it as a remix. It was like exactly the same. I always thought it was Shining Shimmering Splendor, so I'm surprised that it was Shining Shimmering Splendid. I was like, I feel like Splendor makes more sense. That's just me. I didn't write the song. I'm not making the money. But I liked it overall. Still like the music. I did watch the end credits. They had the dance sequence, which was funny. But that's kind of why I think Friend Like Me is the best one. I think that, as far as like a remix beat, sounds good. I thought that was good. Then they have like a full-on DJ Khaled was in it. Like it literally starts. He's like, another one. I was like, DJ Khaled. So that was kind of funny just listening to that, the end credits. But the music I thought was good, just not as good. One Jump is like one of my favorite songs from the original movie. So it's like, it sucks that wasn't like nearly as entertaining. Although watching him like do hardcore, it was like Aladdin plus hardcore parkour. Like the scene where he does like the spin in between the wall so that he can like roll himself lower to the ground. I was like, that's interesting. It's just so over the top. He had like levers and magic stuff going on. Like he had a maze. He pulls a lever down, all these like logs come out of the wall, and I was like, how for this dude? And then when they get in, he pulls the lever down and the thing goes up. I was like, that's easy. That's a bunch of rocks. But he pulled a stick down and logs came sideways out of the wall. I was like, this whole building is like kind of under construction, which I guess I never processed that in the original either, but it just stood out to me in this one where I was like, so we built this trap, like this wall log deal in this like 2-3-story abandoned building. And I was just like, how did I not catch that as a kid? Like and I watched Aladdin a million times as an adult too. And I was just like, how did I never consider what that looked like? Because even in the original, they're pretty high up because they're like looking across and they see the castle and stuff, and I was like, they're fairly high up. And in this one, it just actually stood out because we see them like go up this little thing that he made, and I was just like, interesting. But all in all, I enjoyed the movie. I actually wouldn't mind seeing it again. I don't think I'll pay to see it again just by myself, but I did enjoy it. It definitely made me laugh. I can't say 100% if I'll buy it on Blu-ray when it actually comes out. I probably will, because Aladdin's my favorite, and I really did not hate this. I think, like I said, only one of the songs really got me, outside of course, A Whole New World, which, like I said, sounds like the original to me. But aside from that, I think, outside of the music, because obviously it's musical, Disney musical. Outside of that, I still think it was a really well done movie, and I thought it made me laugh. So I really enjoyed the stuff that they did to change it. I thought they did a good job with Genie. I thought Will Smith, he did a good job. I thought all the actors did. I thought they were all really good in what they did. Actually like Jafar. That was a big thing that people were worried about, that he didn't seem like super menacing. I was fine with him. I thought it made sense. He's not as cool as the animated version, but I thought it was still cool. I thought he still did a good job. He was getting real crazy and evil towards the end. He was telling the princess, like, shut your mouth, crazy stuff like that. Like, the whole movie was like, you should learn to shut your mouth. That was like what he kept doing the whole movie. I was like, this dude's just a dick. But it was funny, going through the movie. Jafar was Jafar. But I liked it. He kills a dude early on in the movie, too. That was something. I was like, Jafar never did that in the original, because he was like, the dude called him, like, your second is fine. And he was pissed. And he was like, and I don't need you. And he just pushed him down this random bottomless pit that he had. And I was like, that's dark. That's definitely dark. It's a dark Jafar. So technically, he is eviler, because Jafar never killed anybody in the original. And I'm pretty sure that guy didn't, in this movie, like, fall into some pillows or water. He's dead. He fell into a dark pit that just kills people. Dark pits. But I like the movie. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about it, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. And I would love to know, what was your least favorite remake song? That, I think, is like the biggest question about this. It's not like, what did you like? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was your least favorite remade song? Because for me, it had to be... No. Was it One Jump? I think, yeah. I think it was One Jump. It had to be that. It was the first song, and I was just like, I'm not too sure about these Aladdin songs, but it was like, once it got to the slow stuff, I was like, oh, he's much better as a slow singer. And also, like I said, it was really the way they changed the tone, or I should say tune of the songs, really, just the way they had him do the lyrics. I was like, it's way too close to him just like talky singing, and it didn't sound like he was actually singing, because it's the faster one, and it was just like, it's so spaced apart, and it just didn't sound right. And just all of it, I just didn't really like when he did, you gotta keep one jump ahead of the lawman. Even just the line he said where it was like, I steal only when I can afford it, and that's everything. I was like, I just didn't sound nearly as cool as it did in the original. Just like that whole thing. So, I hate to like bash on the dude, but it was legitimately like, when it was the faster songs, I didn't think he did as well, but the slower stuff, I thought he did great. So, sometimes you can do fast, sometimes you can do slow, sometimes you can do both. I personally felt like he didn't. That's just my opinion. Like I said, I want to know what you guys thought about the movie. Genie, comedy moments, music, visuals, all of it. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.